Back in the shop, I'm working on a project, and this is steel, mild steel, that I turned a Morris taper 2 on, and I have this end up here I'm working with, and it goes into my tailstock. And what it's going to be is I'm putting a rod out of here, out of this end, and then a slide thing with a die, so that when I go to put threads on a rod, I can do it in a lathe and it's perfect. I seen it on YouTube, so I thought I'll make one. And the coolant system, it works better than I had hoped. I got this valve closed off. This is open some for my bypass. I can turn this, and that's all I have to adjust now is this bottom one for the feed to the cutter. And I was using it when I worked on this steel. I had it on it, and it's perfect. I can cut it way down. I just need a little stream, and it doesn't fly everywhere, and it works so great. Let me plug it in, and that come out better than what I thought it was. No more putting oil on it and it's smoking, stinking, just, oh my, the smell. This, you don't smell it or anything. It's really working great for me. I'm ready to face this piece off for my next thing. This was a handle off of something. It was already had these knurls on and that. So I have to face it off and then drill it clear through to fit a rod. And you can see it's starting to drip. And this I can turn back and forth like this. I put it right on my blade, and right there, that's plenty of fluid. You can see it's kind of dripping. Sometimes it'll go into a solid little stream. That's all I need. And another thing I did on this was I put rubber pieces here so it wouldn't come out this way. It goes mostly in this little trough here where the T-bolt goes to hold this on, and then it'll go down the other end. And I mean, oh man, that works so great. I can cut this down, and then the excess, like I said, goes out the bypass. It's not hard on the pump. Works great. Can't believe how good it works. And it's going down my drain good. I'll unplug that. As soon as I unplug it, it stops. So let's look. I haven't looked. I've used it a lot yesterday on that steel. Get down and look at my coffee filter. See how it looks. There's still a little fluid in it. Probably getting clogged up with what do you call it? With stuff. There, I just tilled it. And I can see in there, there's a lot of grit. Little fine grit gets through. I'm going to pour some of this off. There, you can see there's a lot of grit in there. And this hole that's for the drain, what I do on it, I don't know if I showed this before, but I got some of these Scotch-Brite pads. They have the green ones, but this blue's more like a, I don't know, it's kind of like a plastic stuff or whatever, and you can see the light through it. So I cut a little wee strip of that, and I put right in that hole to help the let me get this compound out of the way, and it helps filter that so all the cuttings stay out of it. You can see how I just folded a piece over and stuck in there. Now the water will still go in, but it filters. It keeps all this fine stuff out of my drain going down through. But man, I tell you, and it's just a little piece of that stuff. This little scrubbing pads, fold it in half, work it into the hole. There. Now to keep all the fine stuff out. When I'm all done, I have a squeegee. I pull that water all up here and let it drain. It drains good. And I clean my lathe every time I'm done using it at the end of the day. But it works fantastic. And to show it in action, I'm going to start this up, face it off. Turn my coolant on. I have to put a switch on it because I just plug it in. So I'm going to have to put a switch on that. Coolant will be coming up through pretty soon. It takes a little while to get up the line. I could shorten that line a little bit so it wouldn't have so far to go. But once it starts, it's spraying a little bit, but not too bad. There it is. And I'll tell you, that works nice. Now I'll be backing this off and using my tailstock to come in and drill through this. What I'll do is I'll simply take this off, and I'll probably have to hold it there because this compound will be way off to the side. But you can see the way I have this set up, I can move this back and forth wherever the blade is and in and out. So this blade and the cutting one and everything I've got to so far, it's so easy to adjust this like this, and it just stays there. I can put it right on the tip of the blade. And I mean, fantastic. And that's all the more cutting fluid you need going on it. And let the rain begin. It looked like rain all day, and they said it was coming. No riding a bike today. That looks foggy, but you're looking through my plastic. But still. And then in here with this metal roof, it always sounds so much worse. Even though I have it insulated, it's really coming down now. Well, it's covered up. That would be wild to just get my helmet on, throw a jacket on because of the rain pelting, and take it for a ride. I mean, I could whoosh it. Ooh, I'm tempted. Just imagine what the neighbors would think. Man, is he crazy? It would be interesting. I just finished my project. So we're here at the lathe, and I just stuck a piece of rod in here to show for now. And this wasn't my idea. This was off YouTube. I seen a guy showed how to, showed his. I had to make one. You put a rod in there and say I'm going to thread it. And this is just for show. It's threaded right there. It's messed up. But if I was going to thread this rod, first thing I made was, this is out of steel, this and this. This is a piece of 1/2 inch stock rod. And I have this, and it goes down in clear into about here. This rod is pushed down in there. And then this is a Morris taper too that I cut on it and have a little end so when it pushes it out, that goes in my tailstock. Now this piece could have been all made in one, but what I had now, like I said, I always look and see what I have and what would be the easiest for me to do. I put that in there, and now my die holder, you can see I have my die in here, say if that was appropriate for that dowel rod, and I drilled and tapped 3 cross holes in here, and I put a little bit of blue Loctite on them so they hold, and I can take a wrench to get them in and out. And I have a 1/2 inch I drilled through here. When I used a drill bit, it wouldn't go on here. So I didn't want to have to cut all this in lathe, but I have a set of reamers, so I reamed it out just a little bit so it slides like that, and you can see how it turns. So what I do is I push my tailstock up and I lock it down. Now I can turn this back here by hand to do it, or I could put it on a real low RPM and do it that way. And what's nice about this is, say this is turning, you just slide this up against your rod and push it, and it'll start threading. Well, if anything happens and you're holding this, you can let go and it'll just spin with it. So I mean, it works beautiful. And I haven't even tried this yet, but I know it's going to work. I seen his. So it took a little while to do it, but I mean, this goes back and you can see you can go clear out to here because it's so long. And I mean, anytime you thread a rod or a bolt, make a bolt or anything, you're not going to be going that far. So I put it back here, get it up close, and then just have that turn and slow, or turn it by hand and just push this up this way. It'll grab, you hold on to this, it'll thread right up on it. Like I said, if it jams, be away from these bolts here. Let me get on the other side. You'll be holding it like this so they don't hit your hand. If it grabs, let it go, and it'll just turn with the jaws, and then you can stop it, back it off, go again. And you can throw your lathe into reverse and it'll back itself right off, and that's the way that works. A really good idea. I'll see if I can find his site and put that up, and you can go and see it. But I thought it was really good. I think he made his all out of one, but it was just easier for me to do that. I had this 1/2-inch stock. This was actually a steel bolt, a big bolt I had, and it was a really big bolt, and I cut it all down for that. So that's the pieces, and then you just back your tailstock off and bump it out. Comes right out, fits in there great. And yeah, this whole piece here was a steel bolt, worked great. And I think that'll be great for the lathe. And a couple other projects I seen on there. Every time I see a project, I thank them for showing it, and I tell them, well, thanks for making me work, because then, you know, I see this stuff, I want to make it. And a little story about what happened the other day. Let me get the camera set up. The wife and I were at Giant Eagle. We're going to leave, and in this little place is a Giant Eagle. They have their gas station, and they got a Wendy's there. That's all it's right in there. Oh, right up above there's, I think, a place that sells property, and that a realtor. And then there's only one way in and out of this thing, so you go down, there's a stop sign. Well, you either got to go right or left. If you go straight ahead, you go over into another place, and there's a Wendy's eating place. So we get down there, we're going to leave, we're going to go left. Then down there is a stop sign, or a red light, and that's the red light that always is so stinking long. Then we hit it, we go left again to go home. So we come down to the first stop sign. There's a guy in front of me, an older gentleman. He's got the door to his gas cap open, and the gas cap's hanging out. Apparently he just got gas. So I tapped the horn. I started opening my door, you know, to get out. Well, he goes left. That's the way we're going. So he turns left. He starts down towards the stoplight. It's not very far. He goes down there. That's always usually red, and you got to wait because it lets the most traffic through the one way, so it's timed. It's not got sensors. Here, it's green. He goes through to the left. I'm right behind him. I'm pointing and beeping and pointing and beeping. I'm trying to tell him, you know, your gas thing, I don't, you know, there's no way to do it. So I'm going like this, pointing. So we go on down the road. Then there's another red light down, because down over a little hill, and there's another red light. Well, before that, there's a Dairy Queen, and there's a road that goes up beside it. He put his left turn signal on. He goes up past the Dairy Queen. Well, when he made that turn, he took off. There was a little bit of gravel there. He kicked up gravel. He took off. I'm beeping and beeping, you know, because I thought, I can't get a hold of him, you know, trying to tell him, well, I know up above you pull out on another road and there's a stop sign. So we go up there. Man, he barely stopped. He took off. And then I think it was the wife said, he thinks you're chasing him. He sees you pointing, he figures you're mad. So when I'm going like that, he's probably thinking, pull over, you know. I'm going to give him hell or something. I'm just trying to tell him his gas cap, even the cap's off. So he's probably go home and tell his wife, man, this guy chased me. I don't know what he's mad about, just because I was at a stop sign, you know. I mean, I pulled up. We was just there a second. Thank goodness he didn't pull out into, you know, some traffic, but he was watching. He had a break there. And I'm like, when he gets home, then he'll see sometime, he'll see his gas cap or his light will come on, engine light, because it's not sealed down. Then he'll go, oh, that's what that guy wanted. So there's probably no chance of that guy watching this video. But if you do, That's what I was trying to tell you. Your gas lid was open and your cap's hanging out. You know, then your light's going to go on. You're going to have to go get it reset. And if he puts it back on and he doesn't know, he'll go someplace, have it scanned, and they'll say, oh, you got a, you know, a fuel, that's all a pressurized system. Any leak, you know, it's like... And I'm trying so hard to get a hold of them to tell them, you know, if your engine light come on, I only live, you know, I don't live that very far away. I can get my scan thing and I can even eliminate that light for you, you know, reset it for you. But it was fun. We finally figured out he thinks we're chasing him, and she said, you're going like that point, and he's probably thinking you're shaking your fist at him or telling him to pull over, you know, you want to talk to him. So I said, oh my, always an experience. So I got that project done. I got another one I seen where a guy has a great tool holder for the lathe. I'll be doing it sometime soon because it's a lot better than what I have. But I love to watch YouTube and find this stuff all out. So that's it.